What's up everyone, I'm Elisa and this is my first Digimon deck tech using my Amphimon deck right now and why I think that X5 and BT15 are the perfect time to play Jellimon. So for any of you who don't know about the line and how it works, we're gonna start with our boss Digimon first and the rest will make sense afterwards. So here is Amphimon. This is our main boss Digimon. You love seeing multiples of this in your hand during a game. It's amazing. It costs 12 to play, which you will never do unless you have no other cards in hand, and Digivolves for 4 memory, which is our big limiting factor and one reason the trainings are essential in this deck. So Amphimon's effects read: when Digivolving, when attacking you may trash up to 2 blue cards in your hand. For each one, trash any one card under your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then, you may return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck. So already this is some huge removal and graveyard fill. Important to know that you can discard no cards and still tuck your opponent's Digimon under their deck if it has no sources. This deals with a ton of Digimon that can't be DP reduced or deleted, but its removal is completely shut off by the original X antibody. So in a heavy X antibody meta you need to adjust the deck a little bit. The next effect Amphimon has is all turns once per turn when one of your blue Digimon would be deleted, by returning 3 cards with Jellimon in their texts from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order, prevent its deletion. So this is one of the reasons that discarding to strip sources isn't a bad thing in this deck. It can protect you from retaliation, combat, deletion effects. So, now we got a game plan: strip our opponent's sources, and fill our trash for big rewards. Now we move on to our egg. Since we are gonna be discarding so many cards to fill our trash, we gotta run the BT11 Amphimon. No better generic draw ability in blue for eggs. Every time we attack, if 3's a tamer on the field, we draw a card, and we need to draw a ton of cards both to find our pieces and to refill from us chucking our deck into the trash. Also side note, Y is the only good skin of this card, the version with sample across it. Even TC player uses this. Can you not just reskin the cards you have? Why has no one done this yet? Now we come to our rookies. So you wanna draw, do ya? Well, I'm gonna draw you so much your hand is going to be a monster even with discarding. Here we have the P061P promo Jellimon. It's a level 3 DG for 0 on our eggs and 3k DP. It has no effects itself and you won't often be swinging this unless you really need the chip damage or you're swinging for game, but its inheritable is in this deck the same as our Amphimon egg. When attacking once per turn, if you have a Kiyoshiro Higashimatere in play, draw 1. The thing to note is that the only tamer in this deck is Kiyoshiro, so as long as we have one out it'll draw, and because it's often on top of our egg we get to draw 2 with both of them together, meaning Amphimon's first swing doesn't even make our hand size smaller, and we love free removal that gives us more resources. This also obviously has Jellimon in its text, so if it dies or gets trashed in any way it gives us more resources, so sometimes you don't mind sacrificing these level 3s and 4s to just chip your opponent down because you wanna fill your trash. Next up is Surprise, another Jellimon. This one is from Resurgence Booster 1 and is another level 3 DG for 0 and 3 play cost. With on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Jellimon in its text and 1 Kiyoshiro Higashimatere among them to the hand. Place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So immediately this is a good first turn opener. After Digivolving on your egg, it digs for almost every card in the deck and can grab you 2 at a time, filling in for any gaps in your Digivolution line. And then we get to the inheritable. Your turn once per turn when one of your effects trashes a card in your hand, gain 1 memory. All of our most aggressive attackers discard when they swing, and so do a few of our cards when they evo up. So this is just free memory for doing what we do. Then we get to our last rookie, and I'll let you all guess what we are running. That's right, it's Jellimon. This time we are using the single best tech piece and the stickiest rookie you are gonna find for no reason. It's the BT13 Evade Jellimon. What can't this thing do, you might be asking? It's 0 to Digivolve, 1k DP and 3 to play. Inheritable is when attacking, trash the bottom Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon. Now this is not once per turn, keep that in mind for later, but the spicy and best part of this rookie and the whole reason we run it is for its primary effect, evade. This one little keyword on a rookie makes it sticky as hell. This is why the deck CNA shut down even pre-ban Anubisman and any use of Leviaman. Your Amphimon burns through resources in your trash to protect itself and can only do it once per turn, so if you just have this rookie sitting in the back doing nothing, it will keep you safe from lowest DP, lowest level, and lowest play cost deletion, as well as let your opponent resolve a Leviathan while killing none of your Digimon. The inheritable can also be good for if your opponent has just a few too many sources for you to strip, and because we multi-swing in this deck, it does put in surprising work with that inheritable. Okay, now we are moving to our level 4's time to stop talking about Jellymons and talk about Tesla Jellymons. Okay, so you might be wondering if we need to hard play tamers. That seems kinda bad to get set up so slowly, right? Wrong, we are running Tesla Jellymon from RB01. These bad boys CNA spit out only a single tamer, but digivolving this on your second turn to immediately pop out our memory setter is an amazing feeling, and it has the same inheritable as the RB01 Jellymon, which means making a stack with these two is ultra value if you ever discard to fill trash. And next comes one of our secret super weapons, Tesla Jellymon. So this Tesla has no inheritable, which is kinda bad, but it has another amazing effect: 5 to hard play, 2 to digivolve on a level 3, and 6k DP with end of attack once per turn. You may trash 2 cards in your hand to unsuspend this Digimon. This Digimon is amazing for dealing chip damage and even getting in kills with the gemming and SEC attack tools we run, and of course it's another way to get cards with Jellymon into our trash. Also yes, this does count as a Jellymon in text because of its name being Tesla Jellymon. That counts for the effects. Okay, one more level 4 for our deck, a single copy of Lanaman. This is here both as aggro and a finisher. Jamming lets you freely swing out for chip damage mid-game if you ever have an unnecessary tamer, which can happen, or as a finisher to close the game up. Next up are our level 5s. We have 3 copies of Thetismon from BT113. This card is basically the best way to rebuild straight up into our level SIXS. If you have one Evade Jellymon and a mental training out, you can go into this for 1 memory, then be able to pass 4 memory to go into your Amphimon and bottom deck one of their threats, or go into it for 1, then drop a training or memory boost and be able to go into your ace if your opponent swings. So that makes this card amazing for us, but because it can't warp in raising and doesn't strip sources, we only run 3. Bam, the RB01 Thetismon. We got 4 of these so that we can strip sources and keep Digimon from attacking to stop OTK decks, slow down other aggro decks, and keeps Digimon sources stripped so that Amphimon can remove them from your opponent's board. So that's why we run these ones. And now we come to the biggest thing from both these level 5s, which are the same. All our level 5s have the inheritable end of attack once per turn by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their texts from your trash to the bottom of the deck in any order. Unsuspend this Digimon. This means that every level 6 or higher Digimon we have can attack twice in a turn as long as we have 3 cards in our trash, and with the amount of drawing and discarding we do, that's not a very hard ask of us, but is something you are gonna want to keep in mind. And since it's Jellymon in text, your tamers, your Thetismons, your Tesla Jellymons, and your Amphimons all count to this. And if your ever thinks they can just rely on you milling out Milithman and SEC control, I'm looking at you. You don't have to worry at all. Okay, now we say the 4 RB01 Amphimons we are using. Now we move on to the 1 copy of the limited booster Amphimon Ace. It's an ace Digimon, so it can blast digivolve like every ace, and it has on play when digivolving. You may trash up to 4 blue cards in your hand. For each one, trash any 1 card under your opponent's Digimon or tamers. Then, return 1 of their Digimon or tamers without cards under it to the hand. This isn't as powerful as the potential 3 times you can remove with our other Amphimon, and it puts it in their hand instead of bottom decking it, but it does let you strip from the egg all the way to LVL5 from under a level 6, and you can potentially do it for 0 memory. Then we get the real reason why this is in the deck. When attacking by returning 3 cards with Jellymon in their texts from your trash to the bottom of the deck, this Digimon gains security A +1 for the turn. This combined with every level 5 in our deck unsuspending, and this not being a once per turn effect, means that your first check will be 2 security checks, then your next one will be 3 checks, and that's 5 checks in 1 turn for 3 or potentially 0 memory, and bottom decking 6 cards with Jellymon in text. synergizing with some of our tamers that can give it jamming, and the one copy of Blitz Omniman you can potentially chunk 8 security with jamming in a single explosive turn off something like SEC, Control or Vaccine. Then our final Digimon is Blitz Omniman. You know him, you love him, he finishes off games, and as said just now, our ace loves to work with him. Now on to our options. This is pretty slim cause we are mostly just trying to kill fast and don't have a ton of room for security bombs. So our first thing is a full playset of mental training. This is just because we digivolve often. We want to make sure we can have all the pieces we need, and to increase our consistency the same goes for our 2 copies of Blue Memory Boost. Next up comes our singular ice wall that we use for when we fight against things like Rookie Rush. Now we move on to the biggest choice in the deck. Either 2 copies of Offensive Plug-in A or 2 copies of Samurai. If you want aggro, you take Offensive Plug-in A, which reads while you have a tamer in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Main one of your Digimon gains security attack +1. This Digimon checks 1 additional security card. For the turn, this makes our multi-attacking Teslajalimons and Amphimons way more threatening and increases our Ace's OTK potential even more. And the added security effect of security: reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 tamer card from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then, add this card to your hand. Means you are even more likely to get tamers, or you can take the security bomb Samurai for 4 memory. You main trash the top 4 Digivolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon. Until the end of your opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't attack. It can lock down whole boards or just cripple a single Digimon and prepare it to be taken out by your Amphimons. Now finally we come to our tamers, all of which are Kiyoshiro Higashimitere. So first up we have the promo P064, whose effect: your turn when you attack with a Digimon that has Jellimon in its Digivolution cards, you may suspend this tamer to have that Digimon gain jamming for the turn. We run this at 3, so you basically always find it over the course of a game, but because we only need to give 1 Amphimon and maybe a Tesla Jelly, you don't need multiples of this tamer, so 3 is where we sit it. Then 2 copies of the Memory Setter version from BT9. It's a Memory Setter but also has your turn when you attack with a Digimon that has Jellimon in its name or is level 5 or higher. If you have 7 or fewer cards in hand, you may suspend this tamer to draw 1. Draw 1 card from your deck. Extra effect is either really good or almost never comes up, it depends how full your hand gets, but it's the only Memory Setter with Jellimon in text, so we run 2 so that we can actually find it. And our final card, the Kiyoshiro from RB01, who has all turns when one of your Digimon with Jellimon in its text or an opponent's level 5 or higher Digimon attacks. If you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, by suspending this tamer, draw 1. Your turn when this tamer becomes unsuspended, gain 1 memory. He is a tamer who can give you memory, has Jellimon in text and fills your hand and doesn't cost 4, so we run another 2 copies. Big questions you might be asking: where's the Buchanan egg? I ultimately decided to skip it because number 1, it's gonna be limited to 1 copy, and number 2, more draw power and consistency with Waniaman makes this deck run smoothly and work better overall. Then there's the new LM Teslajalimon. They ultimately aren't as valuable as either Jellimon. We run the BT9 as has higher DP, so if you don't have jamming, its CNA survive and it's harder for our opponents to kill it in retaliation, and the BT9 Tesla discards more cards to fill our trash. While it doesn't have an inheritable, the trade-off is definitely worth it for some explosive turns, especially with jamming Kiyoshiro, and the offensive plug-in just chunking 4 security in 1 turn is great for us, and most people don't see it coming. Then the LM Jellimon. To be honest, I'm probably gonna replace the promo Jellimon with this and not the Evade Jellimon, but I haven't done enough play testing to see how powerful it is, especially since we can have a lot of cards in hand even with discarding, and the Evade being so sticky that going into BT9 Tesla or even warping to Thetismon then DG into Amphimon is just such an explosive play, and it gets around a lot of mass removal, Leviaman, Crimson Blaze, you name it. And finally, running a single copy of the LM Amphimon. It's not something most people I've seen are doing, but we have a good reason here. While it's an amazing card, it also is very taxing on our trash to use and doesn't have any form of protection, so it's best used to end stalling or grindy games where you have already filled your trash, so drawing it early really does help us, and with the sheer amount of search in the deck we can probably find it if we need to, but if you run a second one you are going to end up needing to discard it to save your other Amphimon. Strip sources. Unsuspend your Tesla, and I'd rather fill that slot with other cards to get us faster than fill it with a big finisher. And there is my deck that I'm running. If you liked the video, feel free to like and sub. All that YouTube stuff, haven't decided if I'll do more Digimon content or not, but hope to see you around, and thanks for watching.